This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Sorry for the late intro. I got stuck. I didn't unmute myself, and I had to unmute myself. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Game Day pregame show. And for your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, make sure you check out the Game Day. The link is in the description of this video. All right, check them out. It's a lot of good content, just sports content on there that I think you'll like. So make sure you go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Let them know that NBK sent you. Let's go ahead and get this thing popping. I got Uncle Fulio, we got Andy, we got Steph in the building. And yeah, we take on the Orlando Magic tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The last time the Orlando Magic was in the Garden, you know exactly what happened. We're going to try to prevent that tonight. New York Knicks, Orlando Magic, 7:30 tonight. Let's get it popping. Andy, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What up, Sim? What up, Steph? Josh? Yes, and like you said, listen, let's get it popping. I hope the Knicks pop on all cylinders tonight, and it's not going to be, another even close game. I need one of those blowout wins so I don't feel stressed out through the whole game.
Yeah, right. Right. I feel you on that one. Uncle Fulio, what's popping, bro?
Sam, what's up? Salute Queen, salute Andy, salute the chat out there. What's going on? Tonight, the Knicks are they got a favorable matchup tonight. I know what Orlando did last time they came to the Garden, but tonight is redemption night, right? We got to be able to redeem ourselves against that terrible performance we had last time against the Magic, and I fully expect the Knicks to do so. We're 11.5-point favorites, so I think tonight is our night.
Yeah, Steph.
Yeah, salute Sam, Andy, Uncle Fulio, the chat. I mean, I don't want us to just win. I want to see a lot of what I saw in Indiana, which is good defense and ball and player movement. So I want to see that we're progressing, and that's kind of becoming our style moving forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Excuse me, definitely agree with that. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that the Indiana game was a springboard for us, especially on the defensive side. We did a video, me and Andy, talking about the defense and whether or not it's truly back or was it just a one-game thing. I'm hoping it's truly back. I feel like Tom Thibodeau maybe found something in playing the lineup that he used down the stretch.
Right.
And that would be maybe his go-to lineup. If other things aren't working, I'm going to go to this lineup right here. And maybe he found something that he trusts. And if you recognize, all the players in that lineup are guys that were here last year and guys that he probably trusts. So, I'm hoping that it marks a turnaround defensively, but also offensively. We'll see. I know the Knicks got to win tonight. You know what I'm saying? They're playing a team that, the Magic, since the Knicks lost to them back in October or whenever it was, they haven't played well. They're 3-11 on the season. One of those wins coming against the Knicks. But they probably feel confident against the Knicks. I think the second half of the first game is when they started to develop that confidence, and then they came to the Garden with confidence, and they're probably going to have some confidence tonight. I need the Knicks to take that confidence away immediately. We should have more talent than them. We should be a better coached team than them. I want the Knicks to just take away their confidence and control this basketball game from the tip to the final buzzer.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for from the Knicks tonight. Will we get it? We'll see. But I'm hoping that we do get it. Looking at the injury report, and this was the injury report based on, 2:30. Miles McBride, now he's out. G League, he's on assignment in the G League, I guess.
Nice.
Okay, so maybe he's going to get some burn in the G League. Nerlens Noel, he's out. Lucas Simonek, he's on a two-way contract in the G League. For the Orlando Magic, Michael Carter-Williams, he's out. Marco Fultz is out. Jonathan Isaac is out. Etuan Moore is out. Jalen Suggs is available. He had a right ankle sprain, so we'll see if that means he's starting. They've been starting Gary Harris, I believe. Right? So we'll see if this means that Jalen Suggs is starting, or maybe they stick with Gary Harris until they're ready to bring Jalen Suggs back. Either way, one of those guards are going to be starting for the Orlando Magic. Okay, looking at the starting lineups, and then we'll, start to break some things down. You got Kemba Walker for the New York Knicks at point guard, Evan Fournier at shooting guard, RJ Barrett at small forward, Julius Randle at power forward, and Mitchell Robinson at center. For the Magic, you have Cole Anthony at point guard, either Suggs or Harris at the shooting guard spot, Franz Wagner at the small forward spot, Wendell Carter Jr. at the power forward, and Mo Bamba at the center spot. So before we even get into really breaking down these matchups, Andy, any thoughts on the injury report and these starting lineups?
Yes, we knew that Nerlens going to be out because Tibbs said it just right after, the last game. Mm-hmm. So he already told us that, it's not going to even be questionable. He's going to be out. So we knew that. I'm happy, actually, that Deuce is going to get burned. I think they play on Long Island, so it's going to be, not that far away, but I don't think they're going to rush him back, on the bench. I think, that's going to be better for him just to grab those couple of minutes in the G League than just to sit and watch from the sidelines.
Right.
Listen, the Magic, even if they were full strength versus the Knicks, this game shouldn't be, a competition even. Listen, just looking at their records, 3-11, you said.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Tibbs, that's the first thing that I'm using for motivation. They got only 3 W's, and one is versus us. That for a team as the Knicks look at themselves as a playoff team, maybe Eastern Conference contenders, listen, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
That one of those wins were versus them, and it was at MSG. So listen, that's all I wanted, to say as Tibbs. The other thing is, just going, a little bit, maybe not off topic, but that I would be looking for is we saw how Tibbs adjusted on the second game of the same opponent that we had versus Indiana. He adjusted the defense.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we are going to see any changes compared to what we had played, versus Orlando in the game we lost. Because this is going to be the third game versus Orlando, if I'm correct.
Yes.
So,
The third game. And after the first game, there probably weren't many adjustments that he looked at because the Knicks blew him out.
Because it was smooth, right? So
so he probably didn't look at any adjustments. Second game, he probably looked and said, all right, we got to make some adjustments now, figure out what we're going to do with Cole Anthony. But
right.
Josh, any thoughts about the injury report and the starting lineup?
Well, first and foremost, with the injury report, I mean, listen, I know we're gonna miss Nerlens Noel. I really like his pick and roll defense. Like I keep reiterating about his defense. I think it's phenomenal. But I think it is a little bit of a blessing in disguise for me, right? Because I want to see that small ball lineup out there some more. I think that lineup down the stretch that Thibodeau used in the last game against Indiana, that's going to be our lineup. That's going to be the go-to lineup. I want to see Julius Randle at the 5 a little bit more. I think Julius Randle, I think y'all touched on it last night, Steph. Him rolling to the basket, that only happens when he's playing the 5, because if Mitchell Robinson's not out there, you don't have anybody clogging the paint. So that's when you'll have Randle doing those kind of things and playing inside the paint a little bit more. So that's the injury report. As far as the Orlando game is concerned tonight, listen, I think the Knicks are going to win this game easily. However, if there is the game does get close or whatever, I'm not going to beat the team up. It's all about context to how they win the game. If it's a hard fought game, Orlando's not going to give us the win, right? They're going to fight, they're going to play hard, but we better win tonight. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, you said you're not going to beat the team up, but we got to win this game.
Yeah,
as long as we win,
we got to win.
As long as we win, I don't care if we blow them out by 20 or win by 5. I just want to win.
All right. Okay, we got to get it though, Steph.
we got to win, but I'm also looking at the nature. I'm also looking at how we win, because I want to see if we're improving. And in terms of our defense, are we improving in terms of our ball movements? I'm gonna be looking at those things. Listen, as a team, individually, these players are all right. As a team, they're just not playing well. But Cole Anthony is going to give Kemba Walker problems. Mitchell and Mo Bamba. So what I'm saying is, if they get really hot, they could pose a problem. It's not like they have all of their guys are not talented. We should win this game, but you still got to show up and you got to win your matchups.
Right. Exactly. I mean, looking at the last game, Cole Anthony had 29 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists. And he's killing. I mean, he's killing right now in the league. He's averaging 20 points per game in the league. He's definitely killing, but he had 29 points, 16 rebounds, and 8 assists. And then it was Terrence Ross. In the fourth quarter, Terrence Ross went crazy. He had 22 points.
He did.
22 points for Terrence Ross in the fourth quarter. All right. Now, they needed a miracle game. I don't want to say a miracle game, but they needed that kind of a crazy game from Terrence Ross to win. Will he give that kind of effort or play that way tonight? I doubt it. But we can't take any chances. He might have 22 points throughout the entire game. And if he has 22 and Cole Anthony has 20 or 25, it could be a tight game. Unless, we got multiple guys scoring 20 and we're just blowing them out. But, we can't let that kind of play, we can't let that happen again. 22 points in the fourth quarter. We got to find a way to defend that guy. That was that was tough to watch. Tough to watch. Andy mentioned some, defensive adjustments. I tend to think that, well, you just mentioned the adjustments overall, not defensive adjustments. I think we're probably going to have the same defensive assignments. Kemba Walker on Cole Anthony, Evan Fournier on either Suggs or Harris, R.J. Barrett, Franz Wagner, Julius Randle, Wendell Carter Jr., and Mitchell Robinson and Mo Bamba. And then, of course, you got Terrence Ross, who comes off the bench. Is like a super sub. R.J. Barrett's probably going to have to deal with that guy, coming down the stretch of the game, because likely Terrence Ross is going to be playing down the stretch of the game.
Right.
So R.J. Barrett's probably going to have to deal with him. Let's talk about that Kemba Walker and Cole Anthony matchup. For me, that's the key to the game. Not the key to the game, the key matchup of the game.
Right.
Right? My key matchup is Kemba Walker and Cole Anthony. Kemba Walker's averaging 12.8 points per game, 2.6 rebounds, 3 assists. He's shooting 44.5% from the field. He's shooting 42.5% from the three-point line and 76.5% from the free throw line. Cole Anthony, on the other hand, he's averaging 20 points a game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists per game. He's shooting just about 44% from the field, and he's shooting 39.4% from the three-point line to go with 85.7% from the free throw line.
That's some good numbers. That's a good stat. That's really good.
It's really good numbers.
Really good.
Now, we know he's playing for Orlando, but he's putting up some really good numbers. I'll start with you, Andy. What are we going to do with him?
Except hope and pray. Listen, I really think, that we had the defensive matchup in the first game that we played versus them quite well sorted. But, the second one, he just, he's one of those players that can just catch fire and, he's going to attack you. And you basically have to, corral the whole defense around him. And, him being a young player, it's hard for vets, to try to turn their attention to a young guy like that because, his stature wasn't one of the top picks of the draft and stuff like that. So, he's kind of flying under the radar for these guys. I realize that we played 2 games versus them and we have the proper scouting done. But I think, it's still going to be a hard task to just lock him up and keep him under 10 points.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen. Josh.
So for me, I mean, listen, I think Cole Anthony is going to be their go-to. Excuse me, their go-to scorer. So maybe we, throw a second body at him, at times just to help Kemba out a little bit. But I'm focused on Kemba offensively. I think an aggressive Kemba is what we need. Excuse me. I think if Kemba continues to be aggressive, attacking the basket, trying to break his man down, get into the paint a little bit more, I think that opens up a lot more things for the offense. And I think the offense just kind of flows better when Kemba's doing some of those things. I don't think Kemba is ever going to be a floor general. I don't think that's never been his MO, so to speak. His whole thing is about scoring, putting the ball in the basket. And I think if he can at least attempt to match scoring or, one-up him in scoring, I think Kemba Walker can win this matchup from that standpoint. Defensively, I don't think Kemba Walker can do anything with Cole Anthony. That's just something we have to live with. And maybe Thibodeau comes up with some sort of scheme to try to hide it a little bit. But I'm looking for an aggressive Kemba tonight for sure.
All right. Steph?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I noticed in the Indy game was that when the guards penetrated, there were rotations to stop the penetration, and it didn't seem like they were over-rotating as well, either. And that helped with the three-point defense, though Indy did miss some shots. So I say all of that to say, Kemba scoring definitely helps us out. I think he will get beat by Cole Anthony. Hopefully the rotations are in place and we don't need 4 people to rotate to help, just one. I don't think he wins this matchup, but I agree with Josh. He does have to be, aggressive offensively, get that mid-range, get into the key some, put that pressure on Cole Anthony to defend, which he can. Cole Anthony is a good defender also. But I don't see Kemba scoring a lot of points. I just don't see him being out there that long. I definitely see Rose playing more minutes, maybe even Burks playing more minutes because of this matchup.
So down the stretch, you figure it's probably going to be Derrick Rose down the stretch, maybe even Emmanuel quickly. How do you see, though, Derrick Rose matching up with Cole Anthony down the stretch of a game? If it's going down the stretch and it's a tight game down the stretch. Yeah.
I think he's better. I think he's better, and he's better than Kemba. I think it'll be a good matchup. I don't think Rose is going to shut him down, but I don't really see him going off either unless he's just hot already. And then at that point, there's nothing anybody can do. But I think Rose would do okay in that matchup.
Right. At least size-wise, he's going to match up better size-wise. I think Cole Anthony's like 6'3", and Derrick Rose is, 6'3", 6'4" as well. Looking at the next possible matchup, Evan Fournier and either Suggs or Harris. Either one, I'm not going to say any more than I'm expecting Evan Fournier to win the matchup because I just don't know what's happening or what's going on there. You know what I mean? What can we do? Let's say that. What can we do to get Evan Fournier more involved? I don't know. Is it his mindset or is it just right now there's no chemistry with that group, so it's really affecting Evan Fournier because, he started off hot. He was knocking down his open shots. Now he's not hitting those shots. I don't know if it's just him or if it's because he's thinking. It seems like the entire first unit is thinking very hard, and it's affecting their play. What can we do?
Getting it.
I'm sorry. No. Go ahead, Steph. Go ahead, Steph.
Fournier's getting the easiest shots in the offense. He's getting the easiest shots. He's getting a lot of touches. Randle looks for him a lot. when he gets the ball, you don't have to jack up a shot. Once the ball is in your hand, you can do what you want to do with it. You want to pass it, you want to take the shot, you want to dribble, So I don't think it's about anything but Fournier at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're probably right. Andy?
Yeah, listen, I agree that it's the ball is in Fournier's park. We can say it that way. Then again, Evan is a European player, and you can see it in him that he is not one of those guys that is going to try to shoot himself out of a slump. He rather, pass up the shot if he doesn't feel hot. If he, loses just a little bit confidence, he's not going to be taking shots just to, shoot himself out of the slump. And that's why probably he doesn't play in fourth quarters. He's not hot, and Tibbs doesn't see the spot for him on the roster at that point. Then again, listen, he was playing in Orlando most of his career. So if it's a game that he should be breaking out, it should be versus his former team. So it might have been a little bit of that revenge thing under his belt, just to be playing a great game versus the Magic. Yeah. And I hope so.
Yeah, hope so. Yeah. Josh.
Well, the thing about Fournier, Andy, what you said is correct, and that's not a smart way to spend $18 million a season. You know what I'm saying? We didn't bring Evan Fournier in here so he can be passive. We need a little bit of some aggression from Evan Fournier. Take the shots out of there. Last game I was a bit discouraged because he wasn't even looking at the basket sometimes, and we can't have him in the offense in the starting unit if he's not going to be at least a threat offensively. So my solution would be Evan just to keep taking shots. Don't pass up any open looks, and I think the shot eventually will fall. One thing I do want to say about Stem, you mentioned something about the starting unit not having any chemistry. I think they have some sort of chemistry, right? Even in the last game we played against Orlando, we were up by 13 in the first half, largely due to the starting unit. A lot of games that we played this season, we've had double-digit leads in the first half, and that's largely due to the starting unit. So to me, it's not a chemistry thing as far as the starting unit not having any. It's can they be able to put it together for four quarters? And I think that's the issue with the starting unit rather than them not having any chemistry at all. I think ultimately we're going to snap out of this funk. We're going to knock down shots. Like Steph said, the shots are there. They've been open. We just got to be able to put the ball in the hole. And that's Fournier's major problem.
But see, I disagree because I think those 12-point leads, 10-point leads have come because of the bench, not because of the starting unit, right? So the starting unit, I mean, there have been a couple of games where they've gotten off to a good start. But I feel like over the past 5 to 6 games, and that's half of our season, either the starting unit, plays even maybe, which, okay, that's cool. But for the most part, they've gotten down. The bench has came in, taken a lead, sometimes a double-digit lead, and then the starting unit will lose that lead going into halftime. That's what I've been saying.
I'm not so sure about that, but one thing I do know is that, like you said, in the starting unit, there have been guys that have stepped up, like Kemba recently stepped up, right? There's been games where Julius Randle has had a hot first half, not so much hot second half, or, RJ or whatever the case may be. So I think in the starting unit, there is a little bit of cohesion there. It's just that they haven't found a way to put it all together, to a collective effort to put it together in every single game and a complete 48-minute ball game. So I think there is a little bit of chemistry there. We just got to find a way to do it for the entire ball game.
Yeah, I mean, there's some chemistry there. I just think that there's some chemistry, but it's not good enough. I'll say that. I don't think it's good enough. RJ Barrett and Franz Wagner. Wagner. I said Wagner. Wagner. Tony, I'll start with you, man. What do you think about that matchup?
What's good, guys? Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black, it's time. Real quick before the matchup, I think the thing with the starting lineup is the defensive chemistry. I think the offense will play itself out, but they don't trust each other defensively, and that second unit does. I'm going with RJ again. Hopefully tonight he gets out this slump. It's definitely a slump now. I concede it is a slump, but yeah, I think he's just bound to break out of it. It's not effort, you know what I mean? It's not shot selection. I think he just got to make a couple, maybe get an easy one early to get yourself going. But yeah, I go with RJ.
Yeah. Okay. Andy, any thoughts on that matchup there?
Listen, I don't think this should be even a question. You know, they shouldn't be mentioned in the same sentence. And the RJ, the third pick, you know, we were talking about him as the, you know, next franchise player in case something happened with Randle. And I think we need to stick it that way. So you know, Franz Wagner is, you know, as a rookie, I don't think, you know, he should even be, you know, in the same stat line, whatever, with RJ. RJ should dominate him. And I realized that, you know, sometimes these guys that you don't see for a couple of years, you don't know their tendencies and stuff like that, might have a game versus you. But like I said, you know, this is a third game for the Knicks versus the Magic. So they should have everything on Franz Wagner. So I shouldn't, you know, be questioning RJ this time.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Last game, Wagner had 10 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 36.4% from the field, 16.7% from the three-point line. That was the most previous game that they played. But for the season, he's averaging 13.4 points per game, 3.9 rebounds per game, and 1.9 assists. He's 6'10", so that could pose some trouble, a little bit of trouble for RJ. He's shooting 44.5% from the field for the season. He's shooting 37.1% from the three-point line. His numbers are not that far off from RJ Barrett for the season. You know what I mean? Yeah. Averaging 13.4 points per game. And RJ for the season. And you're right. I don't think he should be, you know, statistically in this game in the same stratosphere as RJ. But RJ's averaging 15.5 points per game. Just about, you know,
and 1.5
points
to add, you know, I think RJ has more trouble on the defense versus other types of wings, you know, versus those fast guys that run around screens and stuff like that. I don't think Wagner is that type of a player. So I think, you know, this should be, you know, as Kareem says, a barbecue chicken.
But yeah, that matchup is a little bit closer than I guess you would expect.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. RJ's averaging 15.5 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 2.2 assists. He's not shooting that great from the field so far this season. He's shooting 40.8% from the field and 34.6% from the three-point line for RJ. So, you know, his numbers obviously are clearly down so far this season. Julius Randle. Steph, any thoughts on that matchup?
I agree with you, Sam. I think RJ should win it, but I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any stretch. Franz Wagner is a good defensive player. He's 6'10". Barrett has difficulty finishing at the basket, finishing over length. Let's see. Let's see. And Wagner is very efficient as well. Though I picked him up off the waiver wire on my fantasy team, so I follow him game by game. So he's in a little shooting slump right now, but usually he's pretty efficient. And there was one game where he had 6 steals recently, so he's pretty active. Again, RJ should win this matchup, but I don't think it's something to take for granted.
Yeah. Now, what about Wendell Carter Jr. and Julius Randle? Last game, Wendell Carter had 11 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks. For the season, he's averaging 13.7 points and just about 10 rebounds per game, 9.9, might as well say 10 rebounds, and 2.4 assists. He's shooting from the field so far this season, 52.1%, and he's shooting 46.3% from the three-point line. Any thoughts on this matchup? Then I'm going to come to Tony.
I mean, Randle should win, but, whenever we talk about these matchups, we always look at our players at their best and then look at the other player at their average. Right now, Randle is not playing at his best. He's not playing an efficient game. He's not looking to score. He's sharing the ball more. So statistically, the stats may be close in terms of points and rebounds. Both are double-double guys, right? But I think Randle at least of late, has been playing better defense, sharing the ball more. So I expect them to win the matchup. But Randall's playing a little different this year than last year.
Yeah, definitely. Tony, what do you think, man?
I I'm going with Randle again. The scary thing is, I pointed it out last episode. Almost every game this year, somebody on the opposing team has had some type of career high, in some form or fashion, whether it's 3-pointers made, whether it's just points scored. But that's been consistent. I think it's only been 3 games that it didn't happen. So I'm reverting back to that RJ matchup and just hoping that it's not Wagner that just has a career game. But as far as the Randle matchup, I'm definitely going with Randle.
Yeah, Andy.
Yes, listen, this has to be Randall's game versus a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. But we gotta realize that Wendell Carter Jr. he might not be a flashy player, a high scoring player, even high efficient player, but his calling card is rather high IQ and defense. So sometimes guys like that, and he's also strong. If you think about it, he's solidly built. So he might cause a little bit trouble for Randle. But listen, I think Randle's going to be able to rest on the defensive end versus a guy like Wendell Carter Jr. and that's going to get him triggered on the offense. So
I hope so. Josh, what do you think?
Last game, Julius Randle had 30 points, 16 rebounds against Wendell Carter Jr. Wendell Carter Jr. only had 11 points. Now, Randle didn't shoot that great. He was 8 for 24. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. But I think Randle wins this matchup easily. I don't think there's any question about that. I think, Randle's going to rebound and he's going to play well.
Yeah, okay. And Mo Bamba, Josh, I'm going to stick with you. Mo Bamba and Mitchell Robinson. There was a lot of talk on the Queens Court. There's a lot of talk on the Queens Court last night about Mo Bamba and State wants to get Mo Bamba from Orlando. I think that ship has sailed. The time to get him was last year. You know what I mean? But what's your thought?
I just feel Mitchell Robinson is a liability on the floor offensively. He has no offensive game whatsoever. We haven't been featuring him with the lob as much. It's his only role right there is second chance points. But Kemba's not really driving to the lane as much. I mean, up until recently he has been, but he doesn't really drive to the lane as much. Julius Randle's the perimeter player. So I just really don't see any role for Mitchell Robinson in our offense. I think he is a shot blocker. He helps us in that aspect, but I really I'm not feeling, like I said last show, I'm not feeling Mitchell Robinson right now. So hopefully Mitchell Robinson can step it up. He's not a good screener. He's not even helping us in that aspect of it. He is not a good screener at all. So I don't know. I'm not feeling Mitchell Robinson right now. Hopefully he can step it up and play better, but he just hasn't.
Yeah. But what about this matchup in particular?
I'm going to go with Mo Bamba.
Going with Mo?
I think Mo Bamba wins it. I'm going with Mo Bamba. I think he wins this matchup.
Okay. He definitely adds something to Orlando's lineup because he can shoot the ball from the 3-point line.
And make struggles against defending those type of bigs. I can step out and shoot the 3.
And it pulls him away from the
basket. That's what I'm a little more concerned about, is it pulls him away from the basket, which is going to open up more lanes for Cole Anthony to get to the basket. That really concerns me there. You don't think Mitch is, the Knicks don't utilize it. Of course, they don't utilize it, but I don't know. If they utilize it, Mitch is stronger. He should be stronger. I think he's stronger than Mo Bamba. You know what I mean? And even if Mitch doesn't have a lot of post-up moves, can, let him, get the ball deep and just go up. See if you get a foul. See if you can get him in foul trouble a little bit. I don't know. I think Mo Bamba, he's got a lot of length. The alley-oop, is it going to work as well? I don't know. Probably not. But Mitch is probably hurting a little bit and still getting used to his newfound weight. Tony, you getting ready to say something?
Yeah, two potential solutions is one, just having Randle guard Carter, who's less of a perimeter player. He has the ability, but that's not necessarily his MO. And putting Randle on him, especially just to guard him on the perimeter, if that's the case. And I know a lot of people like the small ball lineup. That's another option as well. Having more time with Obi at the 4 and Randle, still guarding Mo Bamba on the perimeter. Now, if he's playing in the post, then we want Mitch on him. But I mean, I think that's two solutions that we could. And coming off the adjustment with the Indiana game, I think they're gonna utilize some of that anyway. Like the adjustment on Miles Turner. I think they're gonna use that same type of philosophy.
Yeah, they could. I mean, Wendell Carter Jr. He's taking 4 3-point attempts per game, and shooting it at 46%.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And Mo Bamba, let's see what Mo Bamba's doing out there.
That's got to be career numbers too.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's career numbers for him. Mo Bamba, he is shooting. Last game he had 10 points and 13 rebounds against us in the last game, but he's averaging 11.4 points and 9.4 rebounds. He's also taking 4 attempts from the 3-point line, 4.4 attempts, and he's shooting it at 35.5%. So either way,
Andy, what you teasing at, Andy?
I just, when Sim said he was taking 4 3-pointers and shooting at 46%, Steph was just like, okay, I'm gonna pick him up from the fantasy. She was like,
right,
already peeking at the other tab. I was like, I gotta be faster.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So yeah, it might be a tough cover either way for Mitch,
At this point, then maybe keep him on Obama since he's shooting a lower percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, either way, he's going to have to cover that 3-point line. Now, you can take him out and put, I'm not saying start Taj, but you can take Mitch out and put Taj in, and he'll do a better job covering that 3-point line and be able to defend either one of them. Because Mo Bamba's not going to be very strong. So even if he's trying to post up Taj Gibson, Taj Gibson to be able to handle him defensively, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Looking at the team comparison, I mean, the Magic are averaging 99.9 points per game. I hate looking at stuff like that because then you expect, well, this is what should happen, right? The Knicks should keep them to that or lower. But it hasn't been like that this year for the New York Knicks. They're averaging 99.9 points per game. The Knicks are averaging 108.4. The Magic average about 45 rebounds. The Knicks average 46. Both teams about 22 assists per game. The Magic are at 6.6 steals. The Knicks 7.1. The Magic, they average 5.2 blocks. The Knicks 6.1. The Magic average more turnovers. They average like 16 turnovers. The Knicks are at about 13. Right? And that could really be the difference between these two teams. The Magic they don't shoot as well. They're shooting 42% from the field for the season. The Knicks at 44.6. The Magic shoots 33.3% from the 3-point line. The Knicks at just about 37%. Both teams about 75% from the free throw line. The Knicks score more points in the paint, 44-40. The Knicks, actually Orlando averages 14.5 second chance points, and the Knicks average 14. The Knicks average more fast break points. They average 13 fast break points, while at Magic, they average 9.4.
Wow.
Yeah. I think this is going to be I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Knicks will probably win by double digits. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it'll be, the type of game where the Knicks are, go up 15 and then they cut it to 8 or 9, and then the Knicks go up 13 and then they cut it to 10, something like that. But I think the Knicks will keep a nice distance from them.
Sam, do you think the Knicks cover the spread, 11.5 points?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we win between 10 and 12 points. So, if it's 10, then they won't. But, I think they win between 10 and 12 points.
Nah, I'm looking for a blowout tonight, Sim.
Yeah, me too.
We're coming off of our best defensive quarter of the season, right? That last game.
Mhm.
They're coming off probably the most practice time that we've had prior to that game. During the season so far. We're coming on for another revenge type scenario where there's no way we feel like we should have got that first loss of the season. And I think we're a better. I don't think we are a better team. Like, you know what I mean? Like let's cut down to that. Better players, better coach. If we lose, it's a letdown. It's not.
Yeah.
No disrespect to them, but it's our fault. It's not they beat us. So, yeah, I'm looking for a blowout tonight. So I'm gonna say 14 or higher.
Okay. Are we 30 points better than them? I mean, is any team? Maybe the Houston Rockets. Maybe everybody is 30 points better than them. You know what I'm saying? I think the first game we aren't that much better than them. The second game we're not worse than them. Clearly, that's why I think we're probably somewhere around 10 and 12 points better than them, and actually holding that lead throughout the night. I would love for it to be a 20-point blowout. I hope that it is. And I wouldn't put it past the Knicks going up 15, 17, 18 points, but allowing them to get back in it a little bit and holding it around that area.
I think what makes it difficult, Sim, is we don't really know who the Knicks truly are just yet. Is it that Indy game? Is that the Knicks? If that's the Knicks, we win this game easy. Or is it the team before that who's not defending the perimeter, giving up a lot of three-point shots, giving up big leads? Which team are we talking about? If it's that Indy team, this is not even a contest. But we also have to keep in mind with the NBA, it's about matchups as well. Some of these matchups are not favorable for us, particularly the point guard matchup.
Yeah, and that's the issue right there, that point guard matchup. And I think the bench, I think we got to make sure that we win the bench matchup. With them having a guy in Terrence Ross, I think that becomes critical.
And those first two games against them, our bench hadn't shown up yet. You know what I mean? Our bench didn't really show up until game 6 or 7. Like,
right.
We were asking for them. At this point, the bench is, at peak form almost. So, I think that's going to be an advantage for us. The question is, where are our starters gonna? What are they gonna do? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if our starters play up to their potential, or the way we know that they're all capable of, and our bench continues the way they've been the last 6 games or so, I don't think they have. I think we have the advantage. Maybe all across the board, except maybe starting point guard. And I'm still not ready to say like, oh, Cole Anthony's better than Kemba Walker. Like, so he had a career game against us. The second game, the first game he was the typical Cole Anthony that we are accustomed to. Granted, he's stepped up since.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to say he's better than Kemba Walker at this point.
I guess we're still figuring out what.
I'll say it.
He's on a hot. He's on a hot stretch.
I mean, he's averaging 20 a game over 14 games. He's averaging 20.
Yeah. Oh, he's on a hot stretch.
20.
He's a second-year player.
Yeah, I don't. I guess I don't know what the typical Cole Anthony is yet.
Well, he was inefficient the first year.
Yeah, he was inefficient the first year.
And prior to the second game against us, like, he was having a bad season coming into that second game.
But it was only 2 games.
It was only 2 games, Tony.
The second game wasn't
3. The second game was
game 3. It was real early.
Yeah, it was, and Our bench, I mean, the first game we scored 21 points, but let me see. Our bench played well. Derrick Rose had 12. Quickly had 16. Burks had 12. Toppin had 13. Of course, the Knicks, the starters played well. Fournier had 18. Randle had 21. R.J. Barrett, he didn't really play that well. He had 7.7 rebounds. Kemba Walker had 11. So both the starters and the bench in that first game, because we just smacked them. 121 points, we just smacked them. The second game is where, we really started to, we struggled with them. We came back and won a couple games after that, but we struggled with them in that second game. The starters still showed up in that first game. RJ had 12, 30 for Randle.
Yeah, the bench didn't.
Kemba had 10. Derrick Rose had 23.
Except Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
He's been consistent all year long.
Right. Derrick Rose had 23, but besides that, Alec Burks, he had 9, but nobody else really played that well off of the bench in that second game. So, and then, of course, they had Terrence Ross, who came alive, had 22 points in the fourth quarter. Moritz Wagner, not his brother, Moritz Wagner, he had 8. RJ Hampton had 7. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Interesting game. My keys to the game for tonight is to be aggressive and take him out early. That's what I want to see.
Right.
I want to be aggressive, take him out a little bit early, if we can, get him out of there. We need help on Cole Anthony, help Kemba with Cole Anthony. You know what I mean? That means if he's penetrating to the basket, we step in, we help out, but then we've got to help the helper and we got to rotate back out to the basketball or to our man. You know what I mean? So we got to have good rotations. I want to make sure we win the bench matchup. Right? And that really kind of comes down to Derrick Rose and Terrence Ross, but we have more firepower with Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin. You know what I mean? And right now, Obi and Quickly, well, let's just say Quickly, he's been playing well. Obi, when he's getting minutes, he's doing some exciting things for us. You know what I mean? So we need to win that bench matchup. The first unit, again, got to keep working hard to find the chemistry. Then we got to protect the lead. Because in both games, even when we blew them out by 30, we had a big lead, but then we let them chisel it away.
Right.
And get it to close enough where, we could be concerned. And I think that's what gave them confidence coming into that second game. So we got to protect the lead, which we haven't done all season long, and then execute in the fourth quarter. Do those things, I think we give ourselves a chance. I don't want to say give ourselves a chance to win. We do those things, we win the game. Bottom line. Josh, any keys to the game that you want to mention?
Yes, I think for me it's Kemba Walker. Like Kemba Walker has to remain aggressive, continue to play the way he's been playing lately. I think that opens it up for the offense a little bit. I know me and Queen disagree on this, but she's the queen, so I had to give her props. But I think
disagree though.
But yeah. I just think that other players have to want the basketball. People talking about Julius Randle, doesn't have to be the point forward. I think it's been by necessity because Kemba Walker is not a floor general kind of point guard. Kemba Walker needs to score. His ability to score is what can open up more things for the offense. So like I said, I think Kemba Walker needs to take over that floor generalship role. If not, let's continue to give it to Randle and have him set everybody up. I know that people don't want that, but that's not the type of player that Kemba Walker is. He's not that. He needs to be aggressive, remain aggressive as a scorer, and I think that will open up things to the rest of the offense.
Yeah. Okay. Steph, any keys to the game that you want to mention?
I like the first one. Be aggressive and take them out early. Don't give them any hope. Don't give them any confidence. And if you do get out to a big lead, you got to remain aggressive to keep them out of the game, right? I think that's similar to what you said before. We had a big lead. We won the game, but they cut into it tremendously. I think it was 26. And they got, I don't know what they got it down to. I want to say single digits, but we still pulled it out. We can't take them for granted. At each there's talent at each position for them.
Right. Yeah. Tony?
Move the ball definitely. And, if the three is not falling, we need to hopefully moving the ball will help with us finding other ways to score. You know what I mean? Like we can't just live and die by the three, and ball movement.
Yeah. All right, Andy?
Right.
Yeah, to just to add, the cherry on the top, as I always do, with the rebounding. Listen, rebounding is a really important stat and a feature of the game that I think is, important for the W. And I think this Knicks team has a chance to easily out-rebound the Magic. It shouldn't be a problem if we're not having even Netherlands there. I think Mitch, Randle, and Taj can handle the boards versus a team like the Magic.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the game day game preview, the pregame show, the game day pregame show. So for all your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, make sure you check out the game day. The link is in the description of the video. I'm going to get to a couple of phone calls before we head up out of here.
Hey, Seth, can you just highlight Charlie King's comment?
I didn't see what he said. What'd he say?
Knicks 112, Magic 84. Go Knicks.
Knicks 112, Magic 84.
Go Knicks.
Go Knicks.
All right, guys, I have an appointment.
All right.
I'll see you on the post game.
Okay, Steph.
All right.
All right. We'll see you there in the post game.
All righty.
All right. Let me get to this phone call, and we'll get to a couple of calls. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from. Caller. There you go.
What's up, man? Sam, you there?
Appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'm here. Appreciate you for being patient with us, man. Thank you.
No problem, man. Hey, so I got a question for you. When it comes to Julius Randle getting the ball in the high post, I know I would like to see him go quick, but a lot of times that doesn't happen. He likes to stall and survey the floor, and he gets crashed on. So, do you like him with his back to the basket, or him facing up more often?
Ah, man. I like to see a good mix from Julius Randle, right? And the Knicks use him in different ways. Sometimes throw him in there with his back to the basket. Sometimes let him face up. I'd like to see him moving off the ball, cutting and slicing to the basket so he can catch it and make a quick move. I think Julius Randle is best when he makes quick decisions.
Right. A lot of good things happens when he doesn't hesitate and he just makes quick decisions. I agree.
Right. When he makes quick decisions, he gets to the cup, and it doesn't bog down the offense. You know what I'm saying? Because he made a quick decision to get to the cup or whatever he's going to do. So I'd like to see Julius Randle make quick decisions, get the ball, make a quick decision in whichever position he's in, whether that's, out on the wing or on the box. Just make a quick decision. Make up your mind and do something.
Also, Tim, real quick, I remember Fulio, he talked about how Mitch is a liability on offense. And while there is some truth to that, I also believe it's not all his fault. I believe that we're utilizing him wrong, and we're putting him in a box as just a lob threat and someone who can get offensive rebounds and put it back up. What I like to see from Mitch is to be able to catch the ball short corner. When Randle penetrates that middle, it does us no good when Mitchell Robinson is just sitting in the paint, clogging up the lane, because Julius Randle's throwing bounce passes at a 7-footer, and Mitchell Robinson can barely catch the ball already, let alone at his feet. So all I like to see is space it out. Mitchell Robinson catch the ball at the short corner and just make one read. All we're asking is just one read, and he makes a quick decision. Okay, am I going up with this ball? Am I throwing it back out, resetting to my guards? And I just think we're so dependent on Julius Randle. The offense is at the hands of Julius Randle way too often, and I feel like there's just ways to combat that.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think we all want to see some more variation in the offense. Hey, I appreciate your call, bro.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, this is the Game Day pregame show, and I'm putting a link in the YouTube chat. There's a link in the description of this video. And I'm going to ask a favor You don't even have to look around if you don't want to, right? But just do me a favor to help me out if you can, right? When the show is over, just click on the link that's in the description, right? The link, not to the YouTube link, but the link to their website. Just click on the link. Then if you want to jump off. But I think you'll find some really good content there that you like. All right, caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from.
Name is Ray. I'm unfortunate. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, but I'm unfortunately in Houston, Texas. and in any case, I just want to say what up to the panel, Andy, Tony, Uncle Fulio, Stoppin. A couple things I want to get to. Okay. We need to have an honest conversation about Julius Randle.
All right.
We really do. The reality is that I'm not absolutely convinced that he's the guy. Now, granted, he had an amazing year last year, and we cannot get caught up in the space of, what he did last year. Tiff said it perfectly in his press conference that last year is last year and this year is this year. We need to find ways about having a conversation. I'm not saying trade Julius. I'm just saying having a conversation about the possibility of how far do we progress and how far do we go with Julius Randle being the main guy on our team.
I mean, let's put it like this. I think, I don't know. He may not be the main guy. He may not end up. Right now he's the best that we have, and you're using him as a building block. And in the future, the Knicks are going to make other moves to make the team better, and we'll see how that involves Julius Randle. It's hard to say because the Knicks this season are really trying to figure some things out, right? So I'll say this. Check this out. Last year, the Knicks played well, right? The starting unit, they played decent enough. But when you look at that starting unit last year, from Alfred to Mitch, they all had at least a season together. At least a season, an entire season together. Right? Okay. And Randle and Alfred had, that was like their third season together. For RJ and Randle, last year was their second season together. Right? Same with Reggie Bullock. So they had time to gel a little bit. You look at our bench this year, they had from the time that Rose was traded to the team, they had from that time until now to develop and become a good team. We're talking about a starting unit right now that's 14 games into the season. 14 games. So there's still a lot of time for them to grow and come together. And right now, everyone in that starting unit, if you go look at their numbers compared to last year, or even their season, their career numbers, they're all down. And I think it's because the entire unit is not playing well because they're trying to learn and figure some things out.
Okay, could I make one point before I roll out of here?
Sure.
Everybody keeps talking about this idea of we need more time. We need more time. We need more time. And I'm not, it's getting a bit under my skin as a fan because I'm a fan of the New York Knicks, not a fan of players or what it's been for the past 15 years. I'm a fan of the progression of this team, and I've been doing this since 91. So you can imagine my sort of emotional and mental fatigue with this team and how we move. The truth is that the Eastern Conference has gotten significantly better, significantly. Any team beyond the first and second seed with Brooklyn and Milwaukee, and even Brooklyn looks a bit up and down. But it's basically who's who. And if we're not careful, we can find ourselves real quick and in a hurry in that play-in or out of the playoffs completely. So it's one of the major reasons why why I want to bring up having an honest dialogue, because I don't think we have as much time as people think with the expectations. Obviously, we played with House Money last year, and you want to see the progression and whatnot, but at the end of the objective day, you have to ask yourself, if Julius Randle can be a Draymond Green and facilitate and make winning plays, then I can see us going further than just 41 games. But if he is intent in being this sort of generic, mellow, ISO hero ball nonsense, this becomes really complicated in the grand scheme of how we move forward as a team.
Okay. I understand. I get it. I understand. Hey, Ray, thank you for your time. Thank you for your call, man.
Thank you so much, Sam. And a shout out to the panel again. I watch out every single day, and I'm just grateful for the things you guys do.
Thank you. I appreciate you for watching, man, and taking the time out your day. Without a doubt. Later. I mean, I'll say this. Man. The 2010 Miami Heat had LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. In their first 14 games, I think they were 7-7 in the first season that they got together. Sometimes it does take time, for them to gel. That's basketball. You know what I mean? That's basketball. Shout out.
Tim, go ahead.
One second. Let me shout out CT Pittman and let me uncover Andy's face while we shouting him out. There we go. There we go. Big shout out to CT Pittman. He said, keep searching for hashtag the first complete 48-minute game. May take all season to find it, but it's in this team. I feel you, man. We got to keep, they got to keep playing and keep trying to go get it. Yeah, go ahead, Josh. We'll go one last round, get some last words in, then I got to get up out of here.
Okay, I'll combine everything then. Ray, you my guy. Thank you for watching, but I just totally disagree with you. You talk about progression. What was the Knicks' record through 14 games last season? Right? It certainly wasn't 8-6. I can tell you that right now. So there is a progression, right? And I think, everyone blames Julius Randle for the team not playing well. I get it. He's the best player on the team. He's going to get that. But it's really not his fault. Julius Randle has tried to be passive, in my opinion, too passive a lot of times, and people talk about his ISO ball hurting the team. I don't think that's hurting the team. I think what Julius Randle's doing is by necessity. Kemba Walker, up until the last couple games, was not playing aggressive. He was playing very, very passive. He acted like he didn't want the basketball. RJ Barrett looks like he doesn't want the basketball anymore. Evan Fournier, don't let me get started with that, right? So it's not Julius Randle's fault. I think that when we talk about star players and who we have on our team, I think that how far we go depends on the entire team and the makeup around that star player. Guys have to knock down their shots. And I think if Julius Randle was playing at an MVP level right now, the Knicks will still have the same defensive problems that they have, right? They'll still have some chemistry issues, right? So, I just think that there is a progression, right? The Knicks are rebuilding. Remember that? Let's get back to that, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. Let's just be a little bit patient and not overreact about a lot of this stuff. Thank you, Sam. That's my last thing.
All right. Last spiel. Coming at people. Tony?
Hey, where'd that Josh come from? You talk about progression and rebuild, and I thought you would agree with that particular caller. So you've come a long way, my friend. For sure. I'm just gonna say shout out to the chat. Yo, Blackest Time, Sim. Keep doing your thing, bro.
No doubt. Appreciate
it. Go Knicks.
Appreciate it, Andy.
Yes, I'm not gonna fully agree with Josh, but I think Ray wasn't 100% correct on all of his ideas. Listen, as far as I see it, this roster still isn't a championship roster compared to some other teams around the league, right? So, and I really think that plenty of fans undervalue team chemistry. That this is listen, I remember I was playing when I was in first year in high school, and it wasn't a high school team, just the like a junior team it was 4 teams in my the huge neighborhood, right? The first years we were losing games like 40 to 120. And basically throughout 4 years, we were playing against basically one player added, one player lost versus the rest of the 4 teams. In the 4th year, we were winning with those teams that we were losing minus 80 points. And it was just based off chemistry.
Right.
Why? Because listen, my coach, he was a great coach, but he wanted us to play basketball for fun. We didn't have any plays. We didn't have any, he just called the timeout and he was like, listen, look at the scoreboard. What do you need to know more? And we were down 50. And he said exactly the same things when we were up 30. versus someone. So listen, he basically coaches just for fun, but those 3-4 years just of playing together made us learn so many things about each other that, you know, we knew where to find this guy and that guy, who's gonna cut, who's gonna stand on the 3-point line and stuff like that. So I think really fans undervalue that chemistry, and the NBA and chemistry is really a hard thing because, you know, players come and go through season, through the trading deadline. So it's like you said, it might be only like 14, 15 games in. So it's still a young season. And it's like you said also about the bench. Listen, the bench is outplaying the starters. But if you look at the starting lineup, we have 2 new guys, and Mitch wasn't playing the whole season, last season. So it's like, you can call it, it's like 50-60% of the lineup is basically new.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the bench, they're 100%, that they played last season.
Right.
So listen, this is a huge thing. I think chemistry is undervalued by plenty of fans.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And with all of that being said, if the Knicks beat Orlando and they beat Houston, they'll be 10-6 with wins over Boston, over Milwaukee, over Chicago, and twice over Philadelphia. In a couple of days, if we're 10-6, who wouldn't have taken that? You know what I'm saying? So there we go, ladies and gentlemen.
And that would be with giving some games away as well.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, you see that? You see what he's putting up on the screen? The game day. Go check. Ladies and gentlemen, just all I'm asking you to do, when you log off of here, once the intro comes in, I'm putting a link in the chat right now. Bam. There it is. It's in the chat. It's in the chat. Soon as this intro comes on, click that link. Go check out the game day. See what it's all about. And then come back and tell us about it on the game, on the post-game show. We're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful. Spread love. We're done.
And BK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.